big grammars that might be difficult for you to comprehend, then you should be mindful of the use of punctuation marks and grammar. Your punctuation marks should be very noted. You should always put in mind that at the end of each sentence there should be a full stop, and at the beginning of another sentence you use a capital letter. Then you should mind the rules of grammar. Where you are supposed to use a noun, do not replace with an adjective. Where you are supposed to use a verb, do not replace with an adjective. Make sure that everything collocates. Make sure that you are using the right preposition for the right verb, and so on. Revising ideas. Students are advised to read through their essay before submitting their script. That is, you should always revise whatever you have written. Most times, some students will write without going over what they have written to check if there are mistakes or errors. This is very wrong. You should always go back to whatever you have written to check if there are mistakes or errors, and this will enable you to spot areas where there are spelling or grammatical errors. Now let's consider common errors in essay writing. Like I said the other time, that you should always revise your work. There are some common errors that we usually find in essay writing. Those errors are either spelling, wrong spellings, or interchanging of words. We have a lot of them, but we are picking word spellings and interchanging of words firstly. So under word spellings and wrong spellings and interchanging of words, we have some students writing another word for what they intend to write. Examples, we can have something like SUIT for SOOT. These words are homophones. They are pronounced the same in the same manner, but they mean different things. So we have a number of them. Lay for lie, principle for principle, no for no, pray for pray, bail for bail, break for break, and so on. We have a list of them. If you look critically at these examples, you discover that they have the same pronunciation, but they have different spellings and meanings. Another one is wrong concord. Concord has to do with the agreement of words and sentences, and this is under grammar. You have to know and master the rules of grammar very well. You have to know how subjects agree with verbs in sentences, and then you should ensure a good mastery of the rules of concord. Let's see some of the examples. On the first column, we have wrong usage, and on the second column, we have the correction. The boy love his new school. The boy in this context is a subject, and it is a singular subject which should attract a singular verb. So instead of love, we should use loves. So we have the boy loves his new school. My dad, as well as his colleagues, are around. If you know the rule of concord, you discover that as well as his colleagues is a parenthesis in this sentence, and so it should be disregarded. So we should not consider as well as his colleagues in the sentence. Instead, we should have my dad as well as his colleagues is around. So it is as good as saying my dad is around. Obi and Sons Limited are the approved distributor. R in this context is wrong because Obi and Sons Limited is referring to a singular noun, and so it should attract a singular verb, which is. So we are going to have Obi and Sons Limited is the approved distributor. Another common error is inappropriate use of punctuation marks. Some students do not have a good understanding of the usage of punctuation marks. So you should ensure that you have a good knowledge of punctuation marks in the English language and how to use them in your writings. Example, wrong use of capital letters or small letters. Like I said earlier, some people start their new sentences in small letter, and at times when they end the sentence, they do not put full stop. Where they are supposed to put colon, they don't put it. Some people put comma instead of colon. All this should be put in mind and worked upon. Then, wrong usage of comma. At times, some people use comma wrongly. Instead of full stop, they put comma. So all this should be considered. Another one is grammatical errors such as wrong tenses, wrong prepositions, wrong plural formations, wrong joining of words, and wrong separation of words. I'm going to lay emphasis on wrong joining of words and wrong separation of words. Most times we tend to join words that are not together, and then we separate words that are not supposed to be together. Let's consider some of these words. In fact should be separated. In separately and fact separately. Of course, of separate, course separate. At times is spelled AT separate and then times separate. A lot, A on its own and then lot on its own. In as much as, in separate, has separate, much separate. And then we have in spite. In separate and then spite separate. Then there are some that are written together, but people tend to separate them while writing. Sometimes some people separate therefore, right, by writing there separate and for separate. They should be written together. Moreover should also be written together. Nevertheless, hereby, herself, indeed, and so on. So all this should be put in mind while writing. Types of essay. There are four main types of essays. We have the narrative essay, the descriptive essay, the expository essay, and the argumentative essay. Narrative essay. In narrative essay, writers give detailed accounts of events or incidents that they witnessed or experienced. Let's look at some of the hints of writing a narrative essay. In narrative essay, you are expected to give a realistic and convincing account of the story you are writing on. By this we mean the story you are writing should be factual, should be convincing, should not appear false. Then arrange the paragraph in a good order. Like I have always emphasized paragraph. Paragraphing is very important in essay writing. So your essay should start with an introduction, then followed by the body, and lastly your conclusion. Arrange your events, the events in your narration in a chronological order and time sequence. That is, you should not bring the effects to the, you should not bring the cause of an event to the middle. You should not disorganize the sequence of events in your narration. You should always follow a chronological order and make sure that your timing is correct. Events should be told in relation to the order of occurrence. Then, since you are narrating an event that happened in the past tense is always required of you. Make sure that you use past tense all through your narration in the narrative essay, since you are narrating something that happened in the past. Then, informal language should be employed in narrative essay to make the narration attractive and interesting. You should not be too strict, you should not be too rigid in your language, in your use of language while writing a narrative essay. This will make your essay very interesting and attractive. Then you should always make use of a mixture of short and long sentences. Short sentences in the sense that you make your sentences very precise so that it's going to be meaningful, and then long enough for you to contain your expression or your intention, but do not make it too long that you lose your focus. Descriptive essay. Descriptive essay gives description of events, scenes, and persons, or even places or objects in order to create a vivid picture of the described in the minds of readers. At times when you've been to places or you've experienced something, you can give a description of what the thing is to someone else. So in writings, you can also give description of places, of people, of objects, of scenes, of even place to people around you. In descriptive essay, detailed description is required. You give detailed information about what you are describing. And then significant features, quality, and details of events, people, places, objects should be explained in the essay. Every significant aspect of your description should be explained in your essay. Hints on descriptive essay. Like other forms of writing, descriptive essay starts with an introduction, followed by the body and then the conclusion. Then we have the paragraphing also. The paragraphing should also follow the normal rule, that is expressing an idea in just a paragraph. You should not bring in two ideas into one paragraph. You should note that a good sequential arrangement of events is very important, like we discussed in narrative essay.